This evening, first, public hearings are coming. The Commission of Inquiry into the MV Barima disaster is finalizing preparations, and soon the nation will hear in the open exactly what led to the tragedy that claimed 73 lives, with 30 still missing. Also, a 55-year-old fisherman is dead after an altercation in Corriverton, and the person in custody is just 15 years old. CCTV footage is being reviewed as police piece together what happened on that Wednesday night. Then it came within hours of a full sailing ban, but the MV Canawaima is back on the water tonight after passing a last-minute safety inspection. In the shadow of the Bereimma disaster, we asked, was that close call a warning sign? Meanwhile, Riverbank families in Riverview face relocation. President Ali says development cannot happen where they live, but promises fishermen a new wharf, and the Agriculture Ministry is even offering to buy their cash. And a month's worth of rain in a single night, torrential downpour in eastern Japan leaves at least 4 dead and forced more than 400,000 people to evacuate. Those stories and more coming up. Stay with us. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for August 14th, 2026. I'm Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, weeks after the MV Barima tragedy claimed dozens of lives and left families searching for answers, the Commission of Inquiry investigating the disaster is now in the final stages of preparing for public hearing. Attorney Javid Shadiq, secretary to the Commission, told the Department of Public Information on Thursday that the Secretariat is working through the legal and administrative requirements needed to guide the proceedings. He said the Commission is weighing various scenarios that may arise during the hearings. A public notice will be issued once arrangements are finalized, outlining how the hearing will be conducted and informing the public and media, Shadiq added. The 5-member commission sworn in by President Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali is investigating the circumstances surrounding the July 18 capsizing and sinking of the MV Barima. The inquiry comes as authorities continue efforts to account for those affected by the tragedy. To date, 78 passengers and crew members have been rescued, 73 people have been confirmed dead, and 30 remain unaccounted for. Meanwhile, the government has launched efforts to recover the sunken vessel, with the Ministry of Public Utilities and Information through the Maritime Administration Department seeking a specialized marine salvage contractor. The MV Barima rests in roughly 13 to 15 meters of water, where strong tidal currents, limited visibility, and difficult sea conditions pose significant challenges for salvage crews. The Commission is expected to submit its findings, observations, and recommendations to President Ali upon completion of its investigation. On a different note, a deadly confrontation in a quiet Corriverton village has left a veteran fisherman dead and a teenager facing questions in police custody. 55-year-old Beachstone fisherman is dead and a 15-year-old is in police custody following an alleged murder in Corriverton, Bereimma. Police say the incident occurred Wednesday, August 12th, around 9 p.m., resulting in the death of Asmat Mohammed Hussein. Preliminary investigations indicate Hussein was involved in an altercation with the teenager, during which he sustained injuries. Hussein was rushed to the No. 75 Regional Hospital, where he later succumbed to his injuries while receiving treatment. Police subsequently contacted and arrested the 15-year-old, who remains in custody, assisting with the investigation. CCTV cameras spotted in the area will be reviewed as part of the probe. Hussein's body is awaiting a post-mortem examination and investigations are ongoing. In other news, the MV Canawaima ferry has resumed operation between Suriname and Guyana after narrowly avoiding a sailing ban tied to a string of unresolved safety deficiencies. Canawaima Ferry Services Incorporated and Canawaima Management Company NV announced that following a re-inspection on August 13, the sailing restrictions on the vessel has been lifted, allowing ferry services to continue. The company said passenger, crew, and vessel safety remains the top priority, with further technical follow-up to continue under agreed arrangements. The lifted restrictions comes after Suriname's Maritime Authority had issued a firm ultimatum to the vessel's operators, warning that a sailing ban would take effect on August 14th if outstanding deficiencies were not addressed by August 13th. The warning followed a July 26 directive requiring Canawaima Management Company to submit a plan of action, after which a re-inspection on August 5th found most of the identified issues still unresolved. Suriname's Maritime Authority had demanded that all legally required safety equipment be present and functional, along with fully operational firefighting and fire detection systems. It also required valid basic safety training and crowd management certification for all crew and an independent survey confirming the water tightness of the hull and cofferdam before any exemption from mandatory dry docking could be granted. The episode adds to heightened scrutiny of the maritime safety in the region following the July 18 sinking of the MV Barima, which claimed dozens of lives and prompted a commission of inquiry now preparing for public hearing. Stick around when we return. President pledges phased relocation for Riverview families, wharf promise for fisher folks, and Ministry of Housing wraps up lot identification at Bereimma Phase 1.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for do a surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. President Dr. Mohamed Irfaan Ali on Wednesday reiterated a proposal to phase out the relocation of families living along the riverbank in Riverview as the government seeks safer living conditions while protecting residents' livelihoods. The president made the pitch during a community outreach drive under the Community Ride Initiative, cycling through Alexander Village, Riverview, and Yarrow Dam to engage residents on their concerns and development priorities. Speaking with families at Riverview, President Ali said the riverbank location presents challenges to further development. He told residents they could not remain in the area if they were not prepared to relocate, noting that development was not possible on the riverbank. He added that the relocation would take place incrementally through the government's social housing program. President Ali assured residents, particularly those dependent on fishing, that their livelihoods would be considered as part of the relocation plan. He suggested that a small wharf and shed could be built so fishermen could continue to use the facility while seeking residents' agreement on the proposed approach. Following up on Thursday, Minister of Agriculture Zulfikar Mustafa announced plans for a proper wharf at Riverview along with government purchasing of fisherfolk's catches. He said fisherfolk currently lack proper landing facilities and struggle to market their catches and has instructed NDIA engineers to design a facility with mooring areas, safe boarding access, and equipment storage. Mustafa added that the ministry will register and organize fisherfolk, build a database, and help connect them to government resources, thereby strengthening their livelihoods. In other news, the Ministry of Housing is nearing the end of a lot identification exercise at Bereimma Phase 1 housing development in Region 10, where more than 1,600 residential plots have been allocated. The development, spanning Phases 1 and 2 across roughly 355 acres, is backed by an estimated $5.5 billion investment in infrastructure and will include recreational facilities, a police outpost, and other amenities. The exercise began on Wednesday with the first group of allottees guided by ministry surveyors to locate and mark their respective plots. The second group of allottees will be contacted later once their plots become accessible. The ministry is urging participants to regularly check on their allocated plots, saying the practice helps prevent encroachment and reduces the risk of people building on the wrong lot. The Ministry of Housing says it remains committed to ensuring an orderly and transparent allocation process for all housing developments, not only in Region 10, but across the country, working closely with allottees to safeguard their investments and support the timely development of new communities. Don't go away after the break. Venezuela after Maduro. Venezuelan Americans watch and wait from the U.S. and Philippines launches Truth Commission into Duterte's deadly drug war.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lenders, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lenders Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world.
Good evening, I'm Dominic Kittins tonight. Antigua's Prime Minister refused to back down over threats to deport a judge, dismissing Bar Association criticism. Venezuela holds its first US-backed talks on elections. Torrential rain forces 400,000 to evacuate in Japan, and hearings begin into thousands of killings under Duterte's drug war. We will start in the Caribbean, where Antigua and Barbuda Prime Minister Gaston Brong has dismissed calls from the country's Bar Association to withdraw remarks threatening to deport a sitting Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court judge over what he described as lenient sentencing. The Antigua and Barbuda Bar Association warned the comments represent a grave threat to judicial independence and the constitutional separation of powers. Brong responded dismissively, calling the association defunct. Venezuela's interim government and opposition hold their first US-backed talks on a path towards new elections, as Washington pushes a three-phase plan for stabilization, economic recovery, and democratic transition. Al Jazeera's Richard Gisford reports.
In the early hours of January 3rd, US forces began their assault on the Venezuelan capital.
At my direction,
the strikes were launched from a fleet of US warships that had been massing for months in the region. The stated aims: to capture President Nicolás Maduro, protect Americans from drugs trafficking, and achieve peace, liberty, and justice for the great people of Venezuela.
We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transitions.
Meeting little resistance, US forces quickly seized Venezuela's president and his wife, flying them out of the country and into custody in New York City. Nicolás Maduro was then taken to court, accused of using government power to protect and promote illegal activity, including drug trafficking. Not surprisingly, Venezuela's ruling party wasn't happy.
We have to go together as Venezuelans to defend sovereignty, independence, territorial integrity, and also defend our dignity and our honour.
The US chose to keep Delcy Rodriguez in power instead of handing it to opposition leader Marina Corina Machado, seen here gifting Donald Trump her Nobel Peace Prize.
I didn't say then give it to me, though. I could have said.
It's long been thought Machado's party had won the 2024 Venezuelan general election, but Maduro declared victory. She remains in exile in Washington, D.C., as the US administration holds talks between the current government and a different opposition group. At his Venezuelan restaurant in Brooklyn, New York, Evo celebrated Maduro's demise, and then the death threats came.
Can't really celebrate it. You can't really be happy because then you have retaliation from the government. Until we can really remove all of it, we won't really be happy, and the people of Venezuela won't be able to breathe.
The devastating earthquakes in Venezuela in late June destroyed more than just buildings. They've severely disrupted and complicated plans for economic recovery. The cost of humanitarian aid and reconstruction is now an added barrier on top of rebuilding Venezuela's institutions. Back in Brooklyn, the Venezuelan community was gathering aid for those in need. Chef Alejandra watching and helping from afar, hoping for change in her mother country.
It's definitely some sadness. There's a lot of struggle that we've been facing for years, and now it just got worse. We're working on building from a new base, so I think it can be better than what it was.
And do you think there will be a point when Venezuela stands by itself without the USA?
I'm hopeful. I would like to see it.
The US has prioritized the flow of oil before new elections, aiming to get the country back on its feet financially before allowing Venezuelans a vote on its future. Change can't come quickly enough, especially for hundreds of Venezuelan political prisoners. Despite US pressure for the government to let people go, Amnesty International says at least 485 remain arbitrarily detained. Richard Gaisford, Al Jazeera, New York City.
At least 4 people have died after torrential rain hits eastern Japan, forcing more than 400,000 people to evacuate, as Chiba recorded a month's worth of rainfall in a single night. Al Jazeera's Paul Jing reports.
An entire month's worth of rain fell in just 24 hours in parts of eastern Japan's Chiba region near Tokyo. The storm inundated roads and railways and knocked out power to nearly 25,000 households during one of Japan's busiest holiday weeks. One of the reported deaths occurred in a submerged vehicle. Rescue services and soldiers have been dispatched to help with relief efforts. The disruption also stranded nearly 7,000 people at Tokyo's Narita airport.
I didn't see this floor, to be honest, but the higher one was full of people sleeping everywhere. On every corner of the floor there were people sleeping, all with sleeping bags.
I managed to book a hotel, but then realized it was quite far away. I queued for a taxi, but there was a 4-hour wait. So I called to say that I wouldn't arrive until 2:30, only to be told that I couldn't stay there after all. Since I had nowhere else to go, I had to return to Narita Airport.
Shopping malls have also been hit hard by the floodwaters, while dozens of homes in cities such as Ishikawa, Kashiwa and Sakura have been affected. Paul Ging, Al Jazeera.
An independent body has launched hearings into killings connected to former Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte's anti-drug campaign. Al Jazeera's Barney Below reports.
It's been more than 9 years since Luz Viminda Siapo's disabled teen son, Raymart, was abducted and killed by unidentified men in Manila. But she says she'll never forget the pain or the humiliation. She was working in Kuwait when she learned of his killing on a contract that didn't allow her to leave.
My boss would usually sit on the couch with her feet up, so I kissed her feet so she would pity me and let me go home.
Luz Viminda spoke to Al Jazeera ahead of her testimony on the first day of public hearings of a civilian-led Truth Commission. It's investigating extrajudicial killings by police and others linked to former Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte's so-called war on drugs.
Why did they have to kill him? There should have been an investigation first, or if he was jailed, that would have been acceptable. But one day someone accuses him of dealing marijuana, the next day he's dead.
Questions the independent body is trying to answer, beginning with the examination of Raymart's remains. Forensic pathologist Raquel Fortun is a member of the commission. She says it appears he was shot at close range. Bereimma was among thousands of people killed at the height of the campaign. Duterte is on trial at the International Criminal Court for crimes against humanity linked to the drug war.
We're looking for information, as I said. If the courts, whether in the Philippines or outside, would find it useful, then they have access to that.
Very few cases have reached local courts, but the killing of a 17-year-old in 2017 sparked widespread anger.
As in most other cases, police said they killed Kian de los Santos in self-defense, but CCTV footage contradicts that. It shows officers dragging the teen into dark, narrow alleyways and across this basketball court before shooting him 3 times. The surveillance video was critical to a murder conviction, but it's one of only a handful of cases where police have been held accountable for an extrajudicial killing.
Yet Kian's uncle, Randy de los Santos, says there's more to his nephew's story.
We sued them not only for murder, but for planting evidence, a gun, and drugs. They should be convicted for all 3 crimes.
Whether or not they end up in court again, Randy says the Truth Commission will provide their family with closure. Luz Viminda says she just wants the world to know that her son was a victim. Barnabelow, Al Jazeera, Manila.
Thanks, Dominique. This brings us to the end of our regional global news coverage. Up next is the 3-minute forecast. And that's it to the 2 headline news for this Friday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. We will be off for the weekend, but you can tune in on Monday at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourselves and each other, and do have a wonderful weekend.